Hello everyone, good morning. Hope
This meeting is being recorded.
hope you guys are doing well. So let's get started. So yesterday we learned about the data like classes in data in Python, right? So what are the classes? How do we define objects? So I hope you guys might have done a quick revision of that because so first I'll just wait for 1 minute if you guys have any query so we I can clarify that. Otherwise then we'll go to the quiz directly. Whatever we learned yesterday, we'll just do a quick testing of it, how much of you remember. Okay, so I am this is your chance, so I am giving you option. If you have any queries, you can ask right now. If not, then I'm gonna ask you. No queries? I know yesterday's session was a bit overwhelming because there were a lot of complicated things. But I also told you what is complicated and what is simple and what all you have to, understand from it. So if you know how to define a class, if you know how to read a class, if you know how to define an object from the class, that's all. It is more than enough for you to work on. Of course, like, see, if you open up an encyclopedia, there are thousand things exist, but nobody expect you to know all the thousand things. You just should know whatever, things which are really important for you to work on it, and that's all. Your job is done. Okay. Okay, fine. So let's do with a quick recap. So I will do a quick recap and then we'll come to the quiz. Okay. Cool. So we learned about the classes and objects, right? So what are the classes and what is the object? So basically, wherever you find that you have some of the functions which belong to certain, entity or certain similar kind of a structure. So for example, uh, there is a class of account, right? So bank account, we all have bank accounts, right? So now there is a class of bank account. So what are different attributes you could think of which will be, common to everybody? It will be account number, account name, location, bank IFSC code, and PAN number, right? All these details will be irrespective of the person. If I am opening the account or you are opening the account, it's gonna be same, isn't it? So all these are different attributes which you can assign to a class called bank account class, and these are all the attributes which one must have. Okay, now coming to functions. So I will be doing a withdrawal, I will be doing a deposit, I will be doing the transfer of the money, I will be doing the standard ordering thing, so that automatic bill payment, right? Anybody can do that. So again, this is an opportunity where I can create such functions within the class so that anybody, any person can use and leverage it. So what will happen is, this bank is a class where the attributes are all these things and methods are deposit, withdrawal, transfer, and we are all the objects of it. So I can create an object called Neha where I will give my details. You can create an object called XYZ where you can give your details, like that. Okay, simple. So that's how you create classes and that's how you use them using an object. Okay, cool. So as we saw here, right, simply how do we create a class? You use class keyword, you give the class name, and within that, this is the function or methods we are seeing. So whatever is the function, we give it with def, right? Definition. So def you define, this is a function, and within the class, you call function a method. So this is a method of this class, right? And one thing you have to remember is, whatever method you are passing within the class, you have to pass this self keyword. This is important, and we already saw why we need it, right? Because of this self keyword, actually whenever you initialize the class, right? So we learned that def init method. So there you initialize the class with all the basic attributes it should have, right? Like it should have pan card detail, it should have name, it should have address, and all these things, whatever is mandatory properties for the class. That's how you define using self, and that's how you read all those parameters in within the methods also. Okay, so it is like defining a variable. Now, how to pass that variable in the method? Using self, right? Because in functions you guys have done, right? In functions you pass the argument that whatever value you want to use within that function. So same thing like that. If you're passing the self, you don't have to give explicitly name, pan. Let's say if you define 5 properties, you don't have to write 5 times those 5 variable name. No, you could have just passed self, and wherever you want to use name, you can say self dot name. Wherever you want to use pan card, you can use self dot pan, or like that. Okay, that is the advantage of defining a class and a function, right? That's how you can call an object. Simply call that class shark, and in closing parenthesis, that's all. This is the object. Now you can use the attributes, I mean the properties and the methods, as simply doing a dot operator. And if it is a method, call this method and close the parenthesis. If it is attribute, you don't have to put parenthesis. Okay, right. So then what all we think? So we learned initialization, right? So we call it as constructor method. So here this will be run by default whenever you are calling the class. Okay. All other methods will be run only when you call them. This init method is something which is run by default as soon as you call the class. Okay. So that's why we call it as initialization method. As soon as you call class, it will be initialized. So here you can define different properties. Okay. Sorry. Then what are built-in class attributes? So that's what you can see, right? It will be, all these properties will be there by default in the class, which you can see. Okay, so you can define a doc string explaining what is that class all about. You can have all those comments in details, right? Then we learned about inheritance, that we have the parent class, then we have a child class. So how do I inherit properties from the parent class, right? Simply, if you think that the bank one, right? I can have a personal bank account, I can have a business bank account. So I could have a class called account, in which I have all the details. Because no matter what, if it is a personal account or a business account, I will have to have the customer name, account number, pan card details, and all these things will be there. So these are some of the attributes or functions which are common. You can define in the parent class, which you can leverage in both the classes. Okay, and how do I call? Simply, when you define a class, you have to pass into a parenthesis your parent class. So if fish is the parent class, you have to pass your this parent class into your child class. Okay, and do whatever you want to do. Okay, so you can use all the parameters whatever you want, right? Here so goldfish is your child class, but now Nemo, this object will have properties of both child class as well as parent class. So it will have swim back function and everything. Okay, so but let's say if you have anything which is common, I mean with the same name, so of course your whatever you have written in the child class, it will overwrite your whatever you have written in the in your parent class, until you use that super method. Okay, so it will overwrite all these things. If you are using initialization method in your child class, it will overwrite whatever you initialize in your fish, that was your parent class. If you want to retain it, then use super method. So how to do it? Simply in your child class, wherever you are doing initialization, just give this line super init and self, that's all. So what does it mean? That it will be retaining your initialization method from the parent, and then it will be appending whatever attributes you are creating over here. So let's say if you want to have attributes from parent as well as child, so you have to define the super in it. That's all. Okay. Then there are multiple inheritance, so no need to worry about it. Okay. So then what else we learned was important. Then we learned polymorphism. Polymorphism means simply you can have the same name doing the different things. So for that's what polymorphism means, right? Two words have the same spelling but have different meaning. Similarly here, two words, two functions or attributes can have the same name, like swim here, but their functionality could be entirely different, right? So you can have it as far as you have them in a different class. So your class name has to be different. Your class name cannot be same. Okay, always remember your class name has to be different. However, whatever functions you are defining within the class, whatever attributes you are defining in the class, that could be same, because we learned that in namespace module that your namespace is different if you have kept them in a two different classes. And how to call it? Simply, if you want to call this function, you have to give shark dot swim, and if you have to call this, then you have to give clownfish dot swim. Okay, so that is doable. Then you had some like, so this is also not so much important. Then you had special methods, right? Like you can give this string method if you really want to return something of the class, right? Like what it is about, what are the properties and all. Then delete is something which is by default. Okay, so all these things we learned. Clear? Any questions so far? No. Okay, then it's my turn to ask question if you guys don't have any question. Okay, let's go back to the quiz. The first question, fill in this blank. So what represents an entity in the real world, right? With its identity and behavior. So is it a method, object, class, or operator? I'm repeating again. What represents an entity in the real world with its identity and behavior? Be object? Yes, it's object. Because just now we saw, right? We create a class because class has its identity and its behavior, right? What is identity? What are different attributes or properties? And behavior, what are different methods and functions, right? So once you create a class, then you have to create a object, right? Because class is useless. Class is like you have defined something, but if you are not using it, then what is the point, right? So what represent an entity in a real world? It's an object. Okay, so B is the right answer. Then come to the second question. It is used to create an object. So what is used to create an object? Class, constructor, user defined function, inbuilt function. Somebody is saying class, somebody is saying constructor. So actually, I mean, I would say whoever is answered class, that is also not wrong, because class, I mean, this question is actually not very much clear, but the right answer is constructor, because constructor is used to create an object. However, class also, I will agree, whoever has answered, that it's not entirely wrong, because class is what we use to create an object, right? So both answers, we can say it's right. Okay. Okay, so let's come to the third. So what will be the output of this? So just see this clearly and try to give the answer. So we have defined a class called test, and within that we have initialized this with a variable. So that property is A, right? Then we have a display function where we are printing that. Now I am simply creating an object of this class and I'm calling the display function. So what will be the answer over here? What will be the output of this? C. Hello world is displayed. Yes, it is correct. Because here you have created object, so it won't do anything. As soon as you will have from this object you are calling this display function, this will work. So what is the display function? It will simply print what is self.a. So now what is self.a? Simply hello world, because hello world is what we have passed over here, right? So it will be printing hello world only. Clear? Good. Okay, what is set attribute used for? So we learned that, right? What is this used for? To access the attribute, to set an attribute, to check if it exists or not, or to delete. B. Yes, it is for setting an attribute. So B is the right answer. What is get attribute does? Get ATTR. For accessing, to delete, options are same. You just have to tell the answer. A. Yes. No, it's A. It's not C. It is X is the attribute. Checking के लिए there was another thing, is instance or something, right? Is instance was for checking. Get attribute is to access it. Okay, cool. Now let's quickly look at this and tell me what will be the output of this. So we have defined a class called demo. We have initialized here, but we have given pass. So we are not really doing anything in the initialization function. Then we have defined a test function, right? And here we are simply printing the name of the class. That's all. And the output, if I see, I'm just creating an object of this class and calling this test function. So what will be the output? Somebody say, so many answers. B, D, 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 D. D is test. Why test? So yesterday also I highlighted this. This name will be equal to main. So answer is B. You want to give it a try? You want to see? Let me show you. So let's see that quickly over here, right? So we have created this class. Okay, there is some issue. In which line? You see main. Because yesterday also I told you that what is this name variable? Actually, it will always be equal to main. Why? Because what does it tell? It tells what is the name of the current script which is running. So whenever a script is running, its name is main. So what? So let's say, so right now in this loop, I mean in this notebook, it doesn't make much sense, because you say that I am running this cell, right? I mean I'm running this file, so I know I'm running this function. So in that case, always this name value will always be equal to main. It makes sense when you have, let's say, created multiple scripts and you are running in loop. So you really don't know when that particular, when is which script running. You don't know that. So how do you define? Let's say whenever a script is running, that particular script is running and you want to execute it, you give this command that whenever this particular script is running, you do this. So that's where we use that condition, if name equal to main, and you do this, right? So that's what I yesterday also I showed you that thing, right? So yeah, if name is this, do this. So likewise we do. Okay, cool. Huh. Give me the answer of this. Take your time and give me the answer. So yesterday also I showed you this example, right? This is method of calling is what? Bound or unbound? If you guys remember. I'm not sure this D is answer to this or what. But it is actually C. It is a unbound method call. So this is valid, but it is a unbound method call. Okay, clear? Cool, fine. So now there is another thing which we have to learn as we are discussing about classes and object, right? These things called decorators in Python. So what are decorators? So let's try to understand that. Okay, then we can say that this topic is completed. So we have to finish the decorator first. So any question in classes and object, then I will switch to decorator. No questions? Okay, then let me switch to decorator. So what are decorators? So you will hear this term, I mean, not a lot, but sometimes, because these are also very important one. So you should be aware about it. And that's the reason I thought of, including this as well. So what these decorators are? These are very powerful and useful tools in Python. Okay. Since it allows programs to modify the behavior of the function or the class. So just pay attention. Okay. Uh, especially when we are, dealing the examples. Okay. So what it does, it allows you to wrap another function in order to extend the behavior of the wrapped function without permanently modifying it, right? So let's see why do we use it. Okay, where is the use case? So let's take this example, right? So here what we are doing in this example, we have defined a function called shout, okay, which take text and I'm returning text dot upper. Okay. Now what I did, I'm simply printing and this functions output. That's all. So when I printed it, shout, I'm passing hello, I will get like this output. Correct? Now what I can do is I can assign it to some other variable also, right? This particular function, I can assign it to some other variable, and then I can run that same variable again with the same keyword. I will get the same output. So basically what I did, I assigned this function to some other variable. Now that variable become a function and I can use that also variable also. Okay. So here what it is saying, we can treat functions as an object, because I can assign that particular function to some other variable. I can use that variable as a function, right? So in above example, we have assigned function shout to a variable. This will not call the function. Instead, it takes the function object referenced by shout and creates a second name pointing to it. Okay. So when I'm assigning it, that time it is not calling. Not calling means that time it is not running. You don't see any activity over here when I have assigned, right? It only happens when I pass something within this variable and I print it. Okay, right? So now let's try to understand if I can pass function within the function. So that's where decorator is important. It eases out the process and you will see how. First, let's understand what is the problem. Then only you will be able to appreciate what decorator does it for you. If I don't tell you what is the problem, then you won't appreciate कि decorator कितना simplify करता है. तो अभी हम problem से देख रहे हैं. अभी हमने क्या देखा? Very simple function, how you defined it and how to call it. Now I am increasing one level up. I am giving a function within a function. Now let's see the complexity. Okay. So here what I did, I defined one function, the same function shout, okay, which returns the upper letter of the text. Then I have defined another function called whisper, which actually is returning lower letters of it. Okay. Now what I am doing is I have defined another function called greet, okay, जो कि which takes input function. Okay. So now this argument इसका क्या लेता है? This is a function itself, right? So this is taking some function. Now what this function is doing, it is simply I have defined that function over here and this is the input text, right? And I am printing it out. So what I can do, I can simply call this greet function and I can pass functions to it. I can pass shout also, I can pass whisper also within that. So let's see if I pass shout, what it does. So it will call this. Now in this, it will run this line. So what is this line? Here it will put shout over here, right? So what shout does? Basically, it takes the input text and it converted everything in a uppercase, right? And that's what it has printed. So that's why if you run this, you will get this, because it has taken this text shout function and it has converted everything into a uppercase. Similarly, when you run this, where you are passing whisper, where you are converting everything into lowercase and everything is converted into a lowercase. So that is the printing. Till here, any doubts? We can pass function within a function. Any confusion so far? No? All clear, right? Okay. Now let's even go further. Right. So now in this example, what we did, we give the greet function takes another function as a parameter, shout and whisper in this case. The function passed an argument is then called inside the function greet. Cool. Now what we can do is, while defining itself, I can create one function within another. Okay. So returning functions from another function. So what does it mean? Simply, जब आप let's say you have created this function create adder, it is taking x, right, some variable. Now again within that function you have defined another function. Now what this function do? It is the function name is adder. It takes another input y and it just sums up x and y, and that is what it is returning. Okay. So now, but now the main function, it does not return any value, because here if you see, we were returning text, right? Here I am returning a function, not a value. So I'm returning this adder function. So this also is doable. Okay. So how do I use it? Simply मान लीजिए आपको create adder function call किया आपने 15, right? So what will happen? Let's try at our own and try to understand what it does. Okay. So fine. Right. So I defined one function within the other and I'm returning as a function. So if I run that, what will happen? Let's see at 15. It's a function. Okay. As you see, it's a function. It's not a value. Right. Now, how do I use it? Now simply because this is a function, I will have to again pass some variable into it, right? Because it is saying it is a function. So let's say I passed another value called 7. Now if I run this, then it will return this. Why? Because this function returns a number, isn't it? Because when I call this function create adder, it will return a function. So that's why it has returned a function. Now, if I call this function again, basically add 15 again, then only I will be able to get the value, because this with this inside function returns a value. Clear? Any confusion over here? No? Yes? No? I take it as clear. Okay. So far what we saw, function can be assigned to a variable. A function can be called within the function. A function can return a function. Okay. So these are the three things we have seen. Now I'll tell you how you can simplify the same thing with a decorator. Because here at this stage, at least you might have, I mean, here there are very simple functions. But imagine if you have very big functions, you will get lost within this. A function within a function within a function. So that's where decorator comes as a savior. And how, I'll tell you. So as stated above, okay. So the above three examples depict the important concept that are needed to understand decorator, right? So now let's deep dive into it. So as stated above, decorators are used to modify the behavior of the function and the class. In decorator, functions are taken as an argument into another function and then called inside the wrapper function. So we'll see with the example. Okay. What is the syntax of it? So as you can see, ये आप जो अभी function define करते हो, if you are seeing at the rate on just above that line of the function, that is what is called decorator. So this is a decorator syntax. You give at the rate and you give a function name which you want to wrap this function in, and we will see what do I mean. Okay. So let me show you with this simple example. Okay. So okay, let me show you with this simple example, right? EFT is not defined, right? Okay. Fine. Let me define a GFG decorator also. Okay. Fine. Uh, Okay, wait, I think, yep. So I think let's try to do it with this example only. But here, what we are saying is that let's try to see what is this code doing. Okay, so you have defined a function called hello decorator. Okay, and similarly, you have a function called gfg decorator. Okay, so this is also a function. So now let's say if you really want to call this gsg decorator, and you within that if you want to pass hello decorator function. Okay, so this thing you can do in a simple line like this. So what it will do, it will automatically wrap your hello decorator within the gfg decorator, because you have written at the top gfg decorator. As simple as that. Okay, so let's try to understand with some more meaningful example, right? So here, let me see where they have used the decorator part of it. Huh, here, right? In here, did they use decorator? No. Okay, let's understand this example. So what we are doing here is I have defined this function. Okay, hello decorator, and it takes a function, right? uh, yeah, it takes a function. Now in within here I have this another function called inner one, and I'm printing this is before the function. I'm printing something. Okay, then I'm executing some function whatever I'm passing within this, then I'm printing something, and then I'm returning one. So I'm returning the same function. Okay, then I have defined another function to be used, and I'm printing something. Okay, so now what I have done here is simply I am passing this function to be used within this hello decorator, and I'm assigning it back to this variable again, and then I'm calling this function. Okay, now let's see what will be the output, how it will be generated. Let's try to understand its behavior, right? So what it will do is simply when you, as soon as you are calling this, right, function to be used, this is the function you are calling. So basically you are triggering this hello doctor, and this function is going within that. Correct. So now let's go one by one. What is this hello doctor does, hello decorator does? First of all, it will go in here, this inner function. It will print this line, isn't it? Because this is the first line it has seen. So it has printed this line. This is before execution. Correct? Now it will try to execute this function. Right? So what is this function? Define function. This functions to be used. So what is this function does? This print this line, that this is inside function. So that's why this line will be printed after this line. And that's what you are seeing. This is the inside function. Then it will print this line because it is still in this, right? So this is after a function execution. So that's what it has done. So as you can see here, they have clearly laid down the step. So what is the steps, right? So the step one is, so there are very smallly written, but I have already told you what are the step, right? So that's what happened. So that is the step one, this line, right? Function to be used equal to hello decorator. So that is the step one. Then step two is it calls that function hello decorator. Then step three is it calls that inner one function, right? It printed that line. Then step four is basically it will run this function also, function to be used. So that function written over here. Okay, so right, and then it will again go within this function and try to run it. Okay, now let's see how we can use as a decorator the same thing if we really want to do it. Okay, so in this example what we are doing, we are importing time and math libraries, right? Then there is this function called calculate time I am doing, and which takes the function. Okay, so now in this calculate time which takes the function, simply in that we have defined another variable, another function called inner one, and it is taking some arguments, right? So we already know this argument and keyword argument. Basically it takes, when you are not sure that how long your variables could be, like how many variables you are passing, you can simply give argument and keyword argument, okay, with this star and double star symbols. Okay, then we begin with time, right? So this statement, simply what it does, it just tell you what is the time right now. So basically whenever you want to time something, right, how much time does it took, so you can take the difference of it. So as you can see, begin pe kya time tha, and then again after ending I have given what is the time. I can simply get the difference of the two to know how much time it took to run whatever lines they are there in between. Okay, so that this time library is just to get the time. Okay, so then I am storing what is the time before the execution, then I'm calling this function whatever I will be passing into this, and then I'm ending it, and here I'm printing it. I'm printing total time taken to run in this function, and this end minus begin I'm doing, which will tell me what is the total time uh, running this function, and then I'm returning this same functions again. Cool. Okay. So now how, if I want to use it on a function called factorial, how can I do it? Simply I have defined a function called factorial, okay, which simply does the factorial of the number, which I can get it from math.factorial the function, right? Okay, and simply what I have done, I have just given this calculate time on the top of this, instead of making that complexity which will goes in what and web and all, right? And it will simply give you the output. So you want to see, so let's try to do this in in notebook so that it's more easy. Okay, so here what I did, I already have this function. Then here I'm simply, so here what I have done is I have defined some function whatever I want to do, right? And what I want exactly is this function to go within this, right? So in order to write that complicated line where it will go and all, right, with a simple decorator thing, you can just put at the rate and give the function name. So what it is equivalent to, it is equivalent to this, that calculate time within this factorial. So it is equivalent to this, right? So now let's say if I want to run it, what I can do is simply factorial and give the number. Let's say I want to give 10. I think I have not run this. That's why I have run this. And now if I run it, so you can see it has given me the factorial value, and it has tell me how much time did it took. And if you want to execute how it did, simply if first of all it ran this function. So first of all what happens is it called that function. So it went here, right? It went here, and then uh, it went into this particular function. It began the time. So let me do one thing, let me put steps here so that it's more clear. Begin time. Okay, then we will put end time. Now I will show you. So you see what happens, time was begin, already it was printed, because this printing is not happening at the first सबसे पहले your this function is getting called. So as soon as your function is getting called, you have come here, you have been into this function, you printed this line, your time has begun, then you went here, right? So you will be calling this function. Now where is this function? This function is the factorial one, correct? So then you will go within this, right? Then you will go here, you will actually calculate the factorial, and that's why printing is happening. So this print command is coming here between begin and end, because that's where you are calling this function, right? Now when you have run it and finish it, correct, then you are again coming back here, ending the time, you are printing the end time, and then you are simply printing what is the total time taken. Total time taken in factorial this much. So that's how the sequence is happening. But how simple it has become, that whatever you want to enroll into this one, that you can do very easily. आपको सिंपली डेकोरेटर पे क्या करना है, आपको जिस फंक्शन से रैप करना है, दैट्स ऑल यू कैन डू. यू डोंट हैव टू चेंज एनीथिंग, यू डोंट हैव टू से एनीथिंग कि व्हाट इट विल बी रिटर्निंग और whatever it will do. You don't have to get into all these details. All you have to do is, if you want to wrap two functions, just define two functions and just put this one on the top of the function which you want to wrap on. So simply like this. Any confusion in decorator so far? I will try to show you some more examples to make it more clear. But so far, any confusion? No confusion? Okay. Let me find you another example so that things are even more clear. So, yeah, let's take this. Okay. Again, here we are defining a function which take function. Okay. In here, so what we are doing? Again, there is some print command. Then I'm using that function, whatever is going into this. Okay. And then that return value. And then that return value I'm returning. And then finally, I'm returning this function. Okay. Now, if I want to use this hello decorator on, let's say, some two numbers function, I will simply decorate it like this, @ hello decorator, and I will be just adding these two numbers. Right? So now what will happen if I call this particular function, sum two numbers, if I call this, first of all, instead of running this, it will go to hello decorator function. It will be doing this print before execution, and that's what you see in your output. This is your first line, before execution. So it will print this, then it will go to this function. Right? So that's why now it will come here. It will print inside the function. So that's why you see your second line is inside the function. Then it will return a plus b. So in this case, whatever is the sum a1 and 2 we have given, right? So it will return 3. Okay. So now your returned value is 3, but you have not printed it yet. Okay. So you have printed here this line, print after execution. So that's why inside the function, after that, you will see this line after execution. Okay. Right? And then you are returning what? You are returning the basically, then it will print this sum equal to this line. That sum of the two numbers what you have written, right? You have written here the value, and that's why you are getting the 3 here. So the very important thing to understand is the sequence, that when you are decorating something, in which sequence it is running. And it will be very useful when you have multiple functions, right? And within multiple functions, like you want to call out many functions. So that time it is very, very useful. Okay. Cool. So you can have, you see multiple decorators also you can have chaining. So that's how makes it more easy. तो मान लीजिए आपके पास एक फंक्शन है नंबर, जिसको आपको एक फंक्शन से रैप करना है, एंड देन अनदर फंक्शन से रैप करना है. सो हाउ इट विल वर्क? सिंपली you have defined two function. First is the decorator one, which take function, right, and return a function. Okay, so in this, what you do is simply you can do whatever you want to. So let's see, let me do this and show you how does it work. Okay, with some printing command so that it's easy what is calling what. Okay, so let me do print one. So let me print just number so that it is clear what is the step. Okay, then I have called this. Okay, I am printing 2. Okay, then I am printing 3. Okay, let me print here also 4, then print 5, then print 6, print 7. Okay, so now what I've done, I have added this. Okay, sorry, this for running, it is happening 473 because by default, it will be running. So as you can see, only those numbers which is there, right? 4 and 7 and 3. So only these are run because these are just a simple print command, right? So that's why. But let's try to understand if you are calling this function. Okay. So what is happening if you call this num function, right? So let me do this. Just simply num. Okay. So what it does, first of all, uh, my deck it is the understanding of is this is like this. Decor one takes the decor function, and then decor function takes num function. So this is how the sequence is. तो जो सबसे पहले वैल्यू है उसको आप सबसे ऊपर रखेंगे डेकोरेटर में, डेकोर 1, एंड देन डेकोर another variable, another function, and then this function. Okay, so it works like this. So now how do I go about it? First of all, your decor 1 will be run. So what is your decor 1? This. Okay, so this will be run. So that's why you are seeing it will go within this. So that's why you are seeing 1 ways printed. So first is 1. Correct? Then you are calling this function. What is this function? It is not num, it is decor function because input to decor 1 is decor. So then it is calling this function, right? So it is calling this function. So that's why you are seeing 4 after 1. So okay, so 4 is not seeing. Why? I'm just wondering, because you call this function, so whatever you print here, why it is not showing? Because it is directly going within this loop, right? So that's why you are seeing after 1 it is directly printed 5. Okay, we will see why it has not printed. So basically before this function now it did not print it. We'll check that why it did not, but for now just understand the loop. Basically from here it has gone to this function. So this function, that's why it is printed 1, then it printed 5, right? Then it called this function. Now what is this function? This is number. So number, it returned 10. So now my x has become 10. Correct? So x has become 10 now, and it has printed 6. So that's why after 5 you see it is 6. Okay. Again it has returned 2 into 10, that is 20. Correct? So far I have got 20 value. Again it did not print it, which is outside this function. So that's why you are not seeing 7. So that is fine. So but now it has returned this particular function back. But so far I have got the value of 20. Okay, so just pay attention to that. So again I came back here. So my x ka value is now 20. Correct? Because this is what I have got back from this function. Okay, so now this value is 20. Now I will print 2, and that's why you are seeing printing 2 over here, right? And then what you are returning? 20 into 20, that is 400. Okay, so this particular 400 is being returned. Okay, and that's where your things are ending, and that's why you are seeing output as 400. Clear how the execution is, how the process flows? So these arguments and keyword arguments we already covered when I taught you about functions, but we can take it up later again for a quick recap. But first let's close this decorator part. So you have any confusion? How do we define in which order? So important thing is to understand what is the order they follow. So which function goes in what? So that is what important to understand. So I hope that is clear with this. So as you can say, right, this is similar to this function. So first your decor one will be called, decor two is called. So very simple thing. If somebody asks you what are decorators, if you want to call functions within the functions and you have very much complex things, then instead of writing these complex function, you can simply give decorators like this and get your job done. That's all. So you simply call this function basic function and it will be automatically wrapped within other functions. Okay, that's the job of decorator. Clear? Okay, so let's try to understand more from this one notebook. So I've created this notebook wherein we can understand more. So as I was telling you, right, how to pass a function within a functions we've already seen. So we have this function say hello, which returns that you are awesome. Then you have this say awesome, which returns with the name that together we are awesome. Awesomest, and then we have this greet bob which takes the function and which will be calling. So same thing, right? Greet bob, if I pass say hello, it will take this function, right? It will return this particular function. So this particular function, it will go here, say hello, and the name is Bob. So that's why you are seeing this print statement, right? So it is printing this. Similarly here, it will print this, right? So we already saw, right? uh, then here also we saw how we can call one function from the other. So within this parent function, I'm calling these two child functions, so that you can do. Okay. Then you can call a function and you can even return a function also. So here, as you can see, simply within this parent function, let me run it, right? So within this parent function, what we are doing, simply we are printing this line, then we have defined two other child functions, and if number is equal to 1, I am returning this or I am returning that. That's all. So if you see a, it is a function, right? So if a is equal to 1, that is the first child, so I can call this function like this. So if I do that, I am printing this, I am Emma. Okay, so that's how you can print the other functions and get away with that. Okay, cool. Now how decorator works? By definition, it is a function that take another function and extends the behavior of the later function without explicitly modifying it. This sounds confusing, but it's really not. So let's see a few examples, okay, over here, right? So I've just incorporated some more examples to give you a better understanding. So as you can see, I created simple function over here with just print v. Okay, say v. So it just printed v. So let's say I have another function called not during night, which take function. Okay, and then I have defined another function within this, which this function I'm returning. And what this function does, simply if my date time now and now hour, right? So let's see what is this date time hour, now and hour. It's 12, right? So right now, if you see, it is 12 o'clock, and that's why they say hour is 12. Okay, so it is of course between 7 to 22, right? So it will print returning function, else it will pass. So let me run this. Okay, so what we are doing over here is, I'm simply not during the night, I am passing this savvy function within that, and let's see what it does, right? So simply uh, okay, I have not defined, sorry. So as you can see, savvy is a function, and when I call it, it says returning function v, because my hour was lying within that, right? So that's how it was running. But in simple terms, how can I simplify it, this line? By simply placing at the rate decorator on savvy, and that's all. So if I do that, and now if I call savvy, the outputs are same, as you can see, right? These two outputs are same. I hope things are clear now. Why we need decorator, when do we use it, and all, right? Okay, any questions in that? Let's take 1 minute pause. If you guys have any questions, I can clarify those. Then otherwise, I'll just quickly tell you the difference between argument and keyword argument, and then we'll go to the next topic. Okay, no questions? Fine then. Let me quickly show you, talk about arguments and keyword arguments, right? So you were asking this, arguments and keyword arguments in Python. So we already covered when we were talking about functions, right? But let me do a quick recap again. So all these arguments and keyword arguments is what is argument? Basically, whatever values you are passing in a function, right? So just now we were talking about function, right? So this is nothing but now this is blank argument because I'm not passing anything, correct? But in here I have passed certain things, right? I have passed two, so that is the argument, okay, to this function, right? So now we can pass a variable name of an argument to a function using special symbols. So these are two special symbols, keyword argument and non-keyword argument. So KWARG is keyword argument, and just simple arguments are non-keyword arguments. Okay. So now what is this non-keyword argument? First, let's understand that, right? So in this non-keyword arguments are the functions definition in Python. To pass a variable number of argument to a function, it is used to pass a non-keyword argument variable length argument list. Okay, so the syntax is used as a symbol. So there is a star symbol, as you can see before this arcs written, and it allows you to take more argument than the number of the formal argument that you previously defined with. So it make the input length flexible, and that's the reason we give the star. So earlier, if you see, we used to give the argument, right? So let's say if I want to add two variable, I will have to give two arguments, x and y. But what if I don't know, right, that I might have to add three variables or four variables or five variables. So I want to make that sum function fluid. And how can I do it? By simply giving this argument list where I am passing this star symbol. Okay, so let's see this example. So what I can define it as, because now this will be a iterator. So now simply the input will be a list, right? Okay, so how you can pass it as simply argument v, and within this now I am iterating over here, and I'm simply printing it. So let's see. So here I have assigned arguments like this, right? So what I'm doing is, whatever I will be giving here is, I will be iterating in this and printing it like that. So likewise, we can do sum also if we have more numbers. Okay. And I think some example only we saw when we were discussing this in class. So when I will show, when I will tell you, it will be even more, you guys will remember. So let's say it is DG, comma, HH, sorry, KK, comma, LL. So there is no predefined thing. I can give as many as want. So you remember, I told you that you have to give it in this way only. If you try to give it like this, it will give you error because it expected to be a different arguments. So here it has run, but ultimately, if you see, why it has run, because now it has treated as one single value, but that is not what the purpose is. Your purpose is you can give as many as as many as variable as you want, and still it should be able to run. Okay, so let me do it in a sum function. So let's say instead of this you should be summing it up. So let's say you have defined a variable which is sum equal to 0, and here you are adding. Okay, so now I have to give numbers. Okay, I did not return actually, so that's why. So I have to return s, right? You see it has returned 33. Now if I give here this, now it should give me error. It has given error because it says that it cannot done, right? So you remember we tried this example, and that's what happening, because we wanted to give them as an argument, and we want it to be fluid, that it should not have any control that how many variables I'm giving. It can be 2, it can be 10, it can be just 1 also. So with this also it will work. So that's why you give argument and put a star symbol. And what this star symbol does, that it can have as many as variable it want. There is no fixed rigidity in that. Okay, so for that what you can do is you can just iterate this one by one within that. Okay, clear? So there, that's where your arguments are used. Now let's quickly talk about keyword arguments. So you can see different examples, right? So you can give, in fact, no, with fixed argument also you can give. So your fixed first value will be treated as argument 1, and rest of the other thing will be treated as with those variable arguments. Okay, so that's why you are seeing here print first argument is hello, and then other things are welcome to Greeks. Next argument through this is this. Okay, now let's quickly see what is this keyword arguments. So for keyword arguments, just to make a differentiate, you have two star symbols. Okay, and then variable. So this is again also variable length argument list. Okay, you can use keyword argument with a double star. The reason is because double star allows you to pass through keyword argument and any number of them. Okay, so the only difference between the two, as you can think of here, it is keyword argument, as the name suggests. There it is just argument. So whatever you were passing, it is just variable you were passing. You were not giving any keyword, which means that you were not telling what is this variable name. Okay, and in keyword argument you actually tell what is this variable name. So like we give variable name na, xyz or whatever. So like likewise here you can give keyword argument, that is variable with a name. So here I am giving first equal to geeks. So geek is a variable, but first is a variable, first is a name, right? 4 is a variable and mid is a name of that. So that's the only difference. The per functionality and reason why we use it, it remains same. The only difference between the two is one is named argument, another is non-named argument. As simple as that. And here also again you can use it like that. There it was just one single variable, that's why you were running loop like this. Here it is two words, that's why you have to give key and value also in this item, because it acts like a dictionary. Okay, so in dictionary you can say that it's an item, and you can save this key and values within that. I hope these things are clear now. Arguments and keyword arguments. Okay, cool. Fine then. So if no question, then let's do one thing. Let's take a quick break, because now we will be switching to the new topic, that is regular expressions. Okay. So before starting a new topic, let's take a 5-minute break. Then we'll come back again at 12:20. So let's take a 10-minute break. So it's 12 now. So let's take that 7-8 minutes break and come back at 12:20. Okay. 12, 20. Right? Cool. Okay, I hope everyone is back from the break, and let's get started. Let me share my screen. I hope my screen is visible. Okay, I take it as yes. Can somebody confirm me? Okay, perfect. Cool. So let's start with new topic today, that is regular expression. So far we I have kept on saying, right, that Python can handle numbers as well as text. So this regular expression is specifically for the text. So basically, what this means is regular expression. That is, we are trying to find out some pattern in the data set. So let's say, you know, if there is something which is getting repetitive, or let's say if there is any pattern which I want to identify and I want to know whether it exists in the data set or not, right? So those things we can do. So for example, if I tell you that there is this letter, and in this letter you have to get the email ID of somebody person, how will you do it? Or phone number for that matter. So these regular expression helps a lot, because you can define a rule, is there, if there any, or any pattern, and which Python will detect it for you. So for example, numbers for mobile number, you can easily say that if there are any numbers, where which are appearing 10 times, 10 letters, 10 numbers in a single row, right, in a sequence, then you can say that it is a phone number, most likely. Correct. So these kind of rules you can give. Similarly, for email ID, you can say that it has to be followed with at the rate, and there should be .com. So anything which you see of that pattern, at the rate .com, you can say that this is the email ID and you can extract it. Correct. So that's where your this regular expression helps. Now let's see further, how we can define those pattern, how do we really use it. Okay, but it is very very useful, because wherever you see, you can think of all these information which are of certain patterns and you want to extract it, you can definitely do it. Let's say if you want to extract only address, so address also you can say that, where let's say if you have a fixed field, that every time it occurs that customer address, so you can actually give a key as customer address pattern, and you can extract whatever you have it after that. So all this we call it as information extraction. And there are various now advanced method than these regular expression, because here it is kind of a rules, right? So your rule may apply sometime, but let's say if you change the format, your rules will not will have you will have to change. Okay, so there are a lot of other advanced things happening in NLP area to extract all these information. In fact, right now the project I am working on, it is related to that. But I have seen very rare things which can outperform regular expression thing, and the reason is very simple. If you already know this, you have a certain fixed pattern, then definitely you should be going for regular expression thing, because no other advanced method, चाहे आप neural network लगा लो, deep learning लगा लो, can outperform the regular expression method, provided your pattern is fixed. But let's say if your pattern is changing, that's where you have to think, because humanly it is not possible that you will capture all 100 patterns, right? 100% of the patterns. You may capture 50, 60 or 70 at max, but it is not humanly possible that you can say that मैंने जो भी rule रखे हैं, no matter what you will extract all. No, it is not possible. And that's where the limitation of regular expression. However, they seems to be done a very nice job, and that's why they are very popular. Okay, so with that, let's start. Let's see how we can build these expressions. Okay, so regular expression, as I said, they are basically pattern of alphanumeric digits or special character. We use them to extract meaningful data like calling numbers, address, type of business, etc. Okay. So you may be familiar with searching for text by control F. So you search with control F, right? What it does, it exactly look for that particular word, keyword, right? So regular expression also does the same similar thing. It's just that it is one step further. They allow you to specify a pattern of text to search for, not fixed number, but a pattern of uh, search. So for example, control F से आप क्या करोगे? You have to give the exact phone number. Then only it will search, right? However, regular expression के संग you can say it can be any number. Just look for a pattern. Wherever you see 10 numbers together, that's your phone number. That thing you cannot do with control F. Correct? Control F mein you have to give exact 10 number. What is the phone number? Then only it will search. Right? But regular expression, you just define a pattern that there are 10 numbers together, you get that number. So it will be able to extract that number as well. Okay. Cool. So this is how, they have also given the same example. You may not know a business exact phone number, but if you live in a United States or Canada, you know that it will be a 3 digit, or in India it is a 10 digit number, right? So this pattern you can give, and regular expression can search it out for you. Good. Now that we have no basic stuff, let's make our hand dirty. Consider the following example. Suppose that there is a file of customer information containing name, telephone numbers, address, and product preferences in a haphazard manner. For random telephonic surveys, you will have to copy all the names and telephone numbers and put it into a file, right? So, I mean, how you are supposed to do it, right? So, for example, let's say you have such a big file. If you have to extract one by one all the name, it is not humanly possible to do it, and it doesn't even make sense. You have so that's where you can use the regular expression to do it. Okay, so you have to find pattern matching. Okay, so you would probably try to read each line entry, right? From these line entries you will probably try reading only alphabet patterns, right? That would represent a name, right? Something like is alpha method. So, I mean, what we are trying to learn is how to write these patterns. Okay, and how to write this pattern is exactly same as how will you identify. You think like that and you have your answer. Like your question would be, Neha, how would I know that what pattern I have to match? So then my answer to you that is, how will you understand that this is the name? The same very thing you write your pattern. Okay. So for example, you have a big file. In each line, how would you know that this is the name of the person? Probably you will look for, all the alphabet patterns, right? So then it is a name. Similarly, for the number, you know that it starts with +91 if it is India number, and there are 10 digits followed by it. So you know this is your pattern. Okay. So probably have a create list object to hold these digits, or maybe a dictionary if you go for a name, number, right? So by this time you already have started feeling something like this. Okay, so you started seeing the patterns, you started seeing how you can extract based on these patterns, right? So if you know regular expression, or regex for short, so in short form of regular expression, sometimes you might heard me saying regex. Okay, so it is a short form of regular expression. It would just take you a few entries like this to find out whatever you are looking for. So this is for the phone number. So as simple as that, this backspace D represents digit. Okay, so I am looking for a digit, and in this curly braces, you can say that how many digits should be there. As simple as that. So wherever you see a digit and followed, obviously, this slash W is white space. Okay, so for obviously there has to be a white space, right? Otherwise, if it, let's say it's a 20 number, 20 digit number, so then that is not my mobile number, na? Because I know my mobile number cannot be of a 20 digit. So it has to be a 10-digit number. So that's why I am saying there will be a white space before it. So there will be a white space before it. Okay. And then there will be a digit, and I'm telling you how many digits. So in curly braces, I'm telling how many number of digits should be there. So this is 10, and this is the simple thing to identify the number. Okay. You could have also given like this, that you can say exactly, if you know that that's India number plus 91, and after this there will be a hyphen, and then there will be digit, 10 digits. So this is a pattern you have given. Okay, we will understand more detail what all different symbols are there, so that you can create a pattern. But just to give you example, that's how easy it is. Okay. Fine. So how do we create an object? Regex objects. So all these regex function in Python are in RE module. So there is called import RE library you have to call. Okay, so import RE, right? Now in this, what you can do is passing a string value representing your regular expression to re.compile. It returns a regular expression object, right? Now in this object, you can use it to identify the values. Okay, so how you can work is, first of all, you have to create an object, right? So to create a regular object, let's say for the phone number, if you are creating, what you can do is simply is this. Okay, so what you are doing is simply re.compile. So you are creating an object and you are giving a pattern over here. Okay, so this is your pattern, and the pattern is plus 91 should be there. Then there has to be a digit and 10 number of digit followed by this. So this is your object. Okay, so let me copy paste this in, put it in a Python, so that when we try it out, we can do that. So first of all, I will call import RE. So this module I have imported, and then simply I am defining phone number regex re.compile. I will have to modify these codes, right? And we already know why we give R, right? So this R means they're literal symbols, right? So that's where we give it that. uh, Plus means exactly plus. Is there, and if there is any other hidden meaning of plus, it will ignore. As simple as that. So mostly we give this R symbol before any string. Okay, this minus, it doesn't mean a minus b, that minus symbol. It simply means this hyphen should be there, or visually whatever you see here it has to look for. That's what this R means. Okay, so likewise I have created an object. Now how do I use this object? Okay, so simply I can search like this. Okay, so what I can do is, I have given this. Now this one I can simply say search within this. So here I have created an object with a pattern that what it has to search for, right? Now I can use this object as a pattern, in with what it has to search, right? So this is the text. From here it has to, call it. So for example, let me give some India number. So plus 91, right? And then give me 9354 and no. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, right? So now I have run this. It has given error. Why? Why it is giving error? It is giving error in this line. Nothing to repeat at the position. Just give me a second. Uh, oh, okay, these two things. Okay, I'll come back to that. Why earlier we were getting error? Let's see. So it has matched. Okay, so it has matched. It is telling that this is what span it has matched. Okay, so I can get it mo dot grow. Okay, and if I do that, it will be telling me the number what it has got. So it has extracted this number. So right earlier, why I was getting this error is that I wrote something like this now, plus 91 this. That's why it was giving error, and I think it will be solved using this, if I'm not wrong. So basically what happens then, these are the special symbols. Okay, this backslash is also a special symbol. This is also a special symbol. So whenever you give two special symbols together now, that time it create little bit complicacy, and that's where you have to be very careful. Okay, so I'm just trying to, I think there is a way to resolve this. So I am not able to recollect what is that. Mm. Okay, so we will see that in the special symbols. But for now, you to like for now, how it work is simply you give that pattern. I'll tell you. I'll come back to this. How can I give that pattern? Actually, there is some symbol which I'm missing right now. You have to give in between because there is a two special symbol I'm using at the same time, right? So here what it does is simply I have actually looked for 10 numbers together. So here I have within this object, I'm searching within this text, tell me what is the value, and it has given. So let's say if there are less, it won't find anything. So if you see here, it is blank. It says in none type because mo, if you see, it is blank because it has not find anything. Okay, so if there it is, then it will give you value. If not, then it will be a blank. As simple as that. Clear? So now let's understand more how to create those symbols and signs, right? So as you see here, there should not be any problem. It should run as it is. Let me try this one also one more time. Let's see if it works. So here it has worked. Okay, so it was not working only because I had this, and then here I was trying to define how many you want. So for example, here instead of defining it 3 times, if I give 3 now, it was giving me error, and we will see how do I resolve it. Okay, so here it has worked. That is interesting. Mhm. Okay, let me see. I'm not sure what was the problem which was happening. Okay. I think I got it. The problem was, I believe this. Yeah, now it worked. Okay. I think I got it. It was the problem. Yeah. So the problem was actually, if you see now, I was giving this 9-1 like this earlier, correct? So now it was giving error. And the error was it got confused. So it just understand what is this digit. If I have to give explicitly digit now or explicitly some numbers, I have to give it in a square bracket. And we will learn this in rule. So that's why I was saying that I'm not able to recollect, but now just now I got recollect, right? So if I give like this, then it should not be a problem. Okay. So the simple meaning is the very simple thing to remember is that if you want to give a literal number or exact number, always give it in a square bracket, right? Or else if there can be any number, then you can give it like this, then there is no problem. But if there are certain exact numbers, then it has to be in a square bracket. As simple as that. See, now it is working. Okay, it has extracted this. Clear? You can even put a plus symbol if you want to extract that. So but then for that plus symbol to work, I think it should be within this. So now it has worked, right? So this plus symbol, you see, again it was giving me error. So this plus some symbol has to be there within this, and it will work like this. Okay, so wherever you see those kind of error na, just do a hit and try enclosing your special symbol, it will work, but we will learn that in a proper fashion, so don't worry about it. Okay, cool. So with that, let's get started, try to understand more of this pattern wise, right? So this, I hope this is clear now, right? You, so that's how you can match. So you can create an object and define a pattern within that what you want to match, and you can search within the string where you want to find that pattern, and you can check in that particular value, it will be stored. It will have the span also, it will have the value also, it will have all these things. So if I show you here, what all things it will have is mo. If you say, it is telling you that what is the span and what is the match, so it will tell you all these things. When you do mo dot now, you will see all these things exist. So you can see group. In group, it you will see what all the different values are there, so you will get the value. And if you say groups, if there are multiple things, then you will see in groups also, but there is just one thing you have identified, that's why it is in group, you can find out. Okay, cool. So as you can see here, we have passed the desired pattern to recompile and store the resulting regex object, right? Then we can call this search on this regular expression and pass the string where we want to search for a match. The result of this gets stored in a variable mo. In this example, we know that our pattern will be found in the string. Okay. Knowing that mo contains a match object and not null value, we can call the group. Okay, so this group, if you call, it will be giving you the match, whatever it has find out. Okay, cool. So these are the steps. Just to repeat, you have to import the regular expression module, import RE, create a regularization object using re.compile function, use that function within that pattern defined, search that within the string and get the match object, and you can check that match object within the group method. That's all. Okay. Now, what is grouping with regex? Say you want to separate the area code of the rest of the phone number, right? So adding the parenthesis will create the groups in the regular expression. Okay, so let's see how, what do I mean? So here, if you see, I did not create, here entire thing is coming as one number, as I see here, right? But let's say I want to separate it out, because this might be the area code, this might be the some other code, and this is the actual number which is different for individual user, right? So because it happens like that, you might see that for some company, for the same company, for the same similar location, you will see these phone numbers also very similar, isn't it? So if, let's say, I want to identify certain patterns, like multiple patterns, like area code separately, state code separately, I can do that. How? Simply like this. So here I can create a parenthesis, whatever group I want to extract. So let's say this is my area code, so I created one group by creating a parenthesis. Okay, similarly, this, all these things, I can say that this is another group. Every, this thing I wanted to be separated, so I created two groups. Okay, so you can, sorry, so you can use the group match object to grab the matching text for just one group, right? The first set of parentheses will be group 1 and second set will be group 2. So this will be your group 1 and this is your group 2. Okay, by passing the integer 1 and 2 in the group match method, you grab the different parts of the match text. Passing 0 or nothing will return the entire match text. Okay, so let's see over here. If I do this, I did not pass anything, so that's why I got the entire thing. But let's say if I am doing group 1, you see I got only 415, that is initial, and if I do group 2, I got the entire value. So likewise, you can split within the pattern also, okay, by simply creating the groups. Clear? Okay, so like as you can see here, right, you created two group, one is this, second is this, 0 is full. If you give 0 or don't pass anything, it is full. Okay, then The and this escape characters in the raw string passed to recompile will match actual parenthesis characters. So what does it mean? And actual parenthesis characters. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah. So so you have given this symbol, right? Like, I mean, this group you have used. But what if you wanted to search where you have the actual parenthesis, right? So wherever you have certain symbols now, which you think, so basically what is happening is this has a special meaning. This parenthesis has a special meaning for Python, right? That it has to create a group. But what if you want to search these parentheses in your pattern? Then how to go about it? So that's what it is saying, that you have to give this escape symbol. So I'll tell you what I'm trying to say. So let's say I created a match re.compile, right? I can give r dot, right? Then I can say this is cat. Okay, fine. Now let's say I want to search something in a dot search I did, and my thing is this is cat, this is dog. Okay. So here it has matched it. It will be matched. Okay, actually I'm not able to give you the proper example. Uh, yeah, this thing I was telling you. Just a second, and then and if I give the symbol, it is this symbol only, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah, this thing, actually this is what I was telling you. Okay, so you'll see here, let's say if this is your text, okay, and there is actually these parentheses which you want to find out. Okay, because it can happen that there is, let's say, a number 5, right? Then let's say I want to find, I think, wait, it will, no, that's not what I meant. Actually, it will miss the purpose. Okay, so let's stick to this example, right? So here, as you can see, I have this parenthesis which I want to find out. But actually, if you see, it is not finding, right? It is just telling me that this is the span 00, and if I, even if I'm doing the group, it is not able to find it out. Correct? Why? Because this hold special symbol, special meaning in Python, these closing parentheses. So how you can, so basically how you can null and void the special meaning or special symbol within the pattern by simply adding this backspace, or you will call forward space, whatever. I think this is backspace, right? So you can simply add this backspace. So what will happen, this is one symbol, it will take a literal meaning. Similarly, you can add a backspace for this parenthesis. Now if you search now, it will work. So now it is giving you this 11 to 13, and if you do this group, it is giving you this parenthesis. That's all it means. So wherever you want to use a symbol, right, I mean, you want to extract some symbols, and which you know that they might have some other meaning in Python, you can simply add this backspace before those symbols. So what will do is, it will take its literal meaning, that you are looking for this kind of a symbol. You are not executing a special meaning. You don't mean special meaning, you're just looking for this particular parenthesis. That's all it will search for. Okay, clear? So that's what it was written over here, that this kind of scape characters you can add in a raw string to make sure the actual parenthesis characters. Okay, cool. Similarly, there is a pipe character. This kind of pipe character, you can use it wherever you want to match one or many expressions. So let's say if you want, there is a or condition, right? Either you want to match this or that, you can use this. So for example, you can match Batman or Tina Fey, right? So anything you have in your sentence, you will be able to getting it. या तो Batman हो या Tina Fey हो. Okay, so both Batman and Tina Fey occur in the search string. The first occurrence of matching text will be returned as a match object. Okay, so let's say if you have defined this object, so what will happen in this case? Batman and Tina array. So you will be getting the Batman first, right? So the very first thing, whatever it will come, it will stop there. It will not go further. So for example, here, as you saw, it has looked for this. So it has given you Batman. Similarly, if Tina Fey comes first, it will give you Tina Fey. You can find all matching occurrence with find all method. So search thing, what it does is it just look for the pattern and then it stops. Okay. But let's say if you want to find all, wherever it is getting matched, then you have to use find all instead of search. So we will discuss that methods in detail, but that's what it is like. That's how you can give the pipe operator also. Okay. Fine. Then you have optional matching with question marks, right? So what does it mean? So sometimes there is a pattern that you want to match, but only optionally. So which means that it may be there and may not be there. So you are not sure about it, but you want to capture both the conditions. So then you can put a question mark. Okay. So regex should find a match whether or not that bit of text is there. Okay. So for example, this case. So here what will happen is it will find bat, man, or a woman. It will find both. So as you can see here, the adventures of Batman, it has find Batman also, and it has find Batwoman also. Why? Simply because this WO, you put a parenthesis and you put a question mark. So it means that it can be there, it cannot be there. So its occurrence could be 0 or 1. Okay, it cannot be multiple times, right? It can be simply either it can be there or not be there. In both the scenario, it will match. Clear? Question mark, where do we use? Because these are the some examples which are very helpful when you create your own matching string. Now that time it is very much useful. Okay, fine. Then we have what? So likewise, right here. So I can have the state code or I cannot have. So wherever we want, we created a group. Now I could have this question mark. So if with this question mark, I will be able to match this and I will be able to match this number also. What, so it's okay because somebody write question, somebody write state code, somebody no, don't write. So even let's take our mobile number case now. Somebody writes 91, somebody don't write 91. So I could have created a parenthesis and I could have put a question mark over there. Okay, both the scenario, I want to match my number. Correct? Okay. And same thing, if you need to match an actual question mark character, then you simply you put that symbol before question mark. Because again, question mark had a special symbol here, right? That it will be matching the occurrence of 0 and 1. But if you literally want to match with a question mark, you can put a backspace before question mark. Okay. Now matching 0 or more with. So what does it mean? Simply here, पहले क्या हो रहा था, when you put it question mark, it was checking whether it is matching, it is there or not. So basically it may appear 0 or it may appear one time only. If it is appearing multiple time, then it won't match. However, if you put a asterisk symbol, this asterisk symbol is match one or more, match zero or more. So the group that precedes the star can occur, so it can happen and it can have multiple times also. So for example, in this case, Batwoman. So W has appeared 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So this star symbol can match, but if you have put a question mark, na, it won't match. So you want to see? Let's try this out. So what I'm saying is, let's say मेरा ये जो bat regex है, re.compile, I have this, okay, right. So with this, if I press, so as you can see, I have got all the character because this asterisk symbol is 0 or more. But if I have only question mark, it won't. It won't. It is giving error because MO3 is null. Sorry, MO3 is null. Why? Because it is just matching ya to hoga or it will happen only one time. So if you remove these two times, na, then it will match. You see, now it has matched. Clear? Question mark is 0 or 1, and instead of a question mark, if you put asterisk mark or multiplier, whatever you call, it is 0 or multiple times. It can be any times, 10 times, 20 times, it can be any times. Okay, so that's the again one other thing. Similarly, similar to this, if you put plus, it is one or many times. So for example, here if I add 1, it will match. If you have here W many times, it will still match. But if you have Batman, it won't match. Because it, for this plus sign, it has to have at least 1. It won't match if it is 0. Okay? Understood the difference between the two? 3. Question mark, only 0 or 1. Asterisk symbol, 0 or more. Plus symbol is 1 or more. Match 1 or more. Okay, these are the three major difference of these symbol. If you understood this correctly, clearly now, then things gonna be really easy for you. Again same thing, अगर आपको literally asterisk symbol match करना है, you put a backlash. Similarly here, if you literally want to match plus symbol, you put a backlash. Okay, any confusion so far? Let's check it out. Any confusion so far? Anything you want to repeat? No? All good? Okay, cool. Then let's get going. Right. So this is, we already know, right? So wherever it is like with plus, it won't match. So you can say that MO3 equal to none, then it's true because there was no match found, right? So this one will not match the string of this because at least one W is O is required by the plus sign. If you need to match an actual plus line, put a backlash. That's all. Okay, fine. Now अभी हमने देखा कि if there is one pattern or more, we can match that. If there is 0 pattern or more, we can match. If there is 0 or 1, then we can match. What if there are only fixed number of times that pattern is appearing, only 3 times it is appearing, then only I want to match, otherwise I don't. So you know the answer. We just now we saw, right? You simply put those many number of times in a curly braces, like we saw in a digit, right? If digit is appearing only 10 times, then only I want to capture it. If it is appearing less or more, I don't care. It is not a mobile number, it can be something else. Okay, so likewise you can give. So either you can give likewise like ha, but it is redundant, right? Let's say if 10 times you have to write the same symbol, it doesn't make sense. So the easiest form is like this. You give pattern and in curly braces you tell exactly how many times it should appear. In fact, you can give a range also. So for example, if you are not sure, it can appear anything between 3 to 5. That range also you can give. So it will match this also where it is 3, it will match this also 4, or it will match 5 also. So such a complicated string you had simplify by simply this. Okay. So as you can see here, you created a pattern string where you are seeing that HA will appear 3 times only. So this will match. But let's say if you have just written once, it won't match. Okay. If you give 3 between 3 comma 5, it will match if it is 3, 4, 5. Okay. Otherwise it won't. Clear? Uses of curly braces is clear? Any questions? Nope. Okay. So now let's see what is greedy and non-greedy matches. So since we know that this 3 to 5 can match 3 or 4 or 5 instances of HA in the string, you may wonder why match objects call to group in previous curly break examples return this instead of shorter possibility, right? So after all, this or this also are the valid matches. Okay, so what it is saying is, let me show you over here. Okay, so mo1 dot group, as you saw यहाँ पर 3 5 का था, right? But it has given you 1 2 3 4 5, all the 5 patterns. It could have written 3 ha 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 only na, or 4 ha ha, but it returned all 5. So that's what it is saying, that it is greedy in that term, because it tried to capture as much as the maximum possible pattern it is getting. Okay, so what it is doing, that instead of the shorter possibility, it is getting you the maximum one. So after all, this are also all the valid matches, but it is not giving you 3 or 4 haha, it is giving you 5 haha. Okay, so Python's regular expression are greedy by default, which means that in ambiguous situation, because this is an ambiguous situation, right? It could have written 3, it could have written 4, but it returned 5. So they will match the longest string possible. The non-greedy version of the curly brackets are which matches the shorter string possible. Okay, and has the closing bracket followed by the question mark. So if you want to make it non-greedy, you could have simply put a question mark. So it will give you the short form of it. So let's see, check here. अगर मैं यहाँ पर, if I put a question mark before the curly bracket, I mean after the curly bracket, so it will return me now only 3. So you can think like that. In this maximum of it. Or if you're putting the question mark, it will give you a minimum of it. That's all. Clear? Again, it depends on your use case if you want to use it or not. If you ask me, Neha, is it needed? So I will say the same thing, that it depends on your problem. If you want to just get a match and get the only the short string, then you use question mark. Otherwise, you don't use it. Okay. So the question mark can have two meaning in a regular expression, declaring a non-greedy match or flagging an optional group. Okay. अभी हमने दो methods, दो use case देख लिए question mark के. One was uh, to tell whether the group is repeating or not, whether like it's coming 0 or 1, or the second method was whether it is a greedy or not. Okay, cool. So far we were using this search method, है ना? अभी तक हम ये ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट करते थे, and every time if you see we have used search, but there are other methods also, like find all. So what this find all does is, in addition to search method, regex object has also a find all method. When search will return a match object of the first match text in the search string, find all will return of the string of every match. Okay, so to see how search returns a match object only on first instance of matching text, let's do this. Okay, so you have this pattern where you are getting these kind of pattern, and you have this text. Okay, so if you put a search, it will just find this first one and it will return this. It won't care if you have anything after that. Okay, on the other hand, if you do the find all, okay, so in this find all you can do this and it will return you the entire thing. So you want to see, let's see this. Sorry, the symbols. So you see, it has returned both the things. So there is no group or anything over here. Okay, so if I put simply save it somewhere here and I do it, it is just a list. So there is no other property or anything over here because it's a list. Okay, so it doesn't have any group thing and all. So groups and all these things exist in search. Find all, it simply finds wherever it is and it gives you the value. That's all. Okay, cool. Got the difference between search and find all? So if there are groups in regular expressions, the find all will return a list of tuples. Each tuple represents a found match and its item are matched string for each group in the regex. So for example, we already see that, right? If we want to define it in a group, then how do I go about it? Simply it will be telling you that it's in tuple, right? So again, it will be giving you as a list, but instead of number, it is a tuple. So likewise, separate things it will be giving you, not one thing. So how many groups you want, it will be grouping you those values. Okay, here it was giving you just one full value, but let's say if you have created a group of this, right? So what it will do is it has just given the value of group only. So I will have to put this also in a group in order to get its value. It will be giving you like this. So one first value has this value and then this, like that. So you can actually access it like this, 0 1, and then within this again you have 0, then it is 415, or if it is 1, you like that, you can access it. Okay, clear? Cool. Then you have to summarize what final method returns. So remember the following, when called a regex with no groups, it will just give you a list, or if it is you have certain groups, it will be giving you a list of tuple of strings. Okay, so this is tuple, it's in round brackets. Okay, so let's now try to understand what are special symbols available, what you can search, what you cannot search, right? So you can see here, right? In earlier phone number regex example, we learned that this is the representation of a digit or a numerical digit, right? This \d. Similarly, it is a shorthand for regular expression of this, right? Because any letter between 0 to 9, it is a short form of this, right? You can capture it by simply placing /t. Okay, so there are many shorthands like this. So the very first is this AX9. What it does is ordinary character just match themselves exactly. So like you can give any of the ordinary character, like 9 1 we were giving na, that you can give and it will match it directly. Okay, then you have a dot or a period, so it matches any single character except a new line. Okay, so likewise we saw, right, we learned there is a multiplier, that asterisk symbol, plus symbol. Similarly, you can give period also, it will just match only single character, that's all. Okay, and these use cases will be even more clear when you will look at the example, right? So don't worry about it. Okay, then you have this /w, it matches a word, right? So you can give it, you can think of it like it, whether there is a letter A to Z, a small or case or a uppercase, or it is between 0 to 9, everything you can capture within this. Okay, then if you have this as a capital W, it is a non-word character. So non-word character could be like numbers, or it can be special symbols or whatever. Okay, anything which is non-word. So let's say if you want to find a match of /b, boundary between that, you can do that. Then you have this slash s, it is for space, white space. So you can even count the spaces also, right? So let's say if you want to give two word as a pattern followed by three spaces, so that pattern you can say that, slash s, and you can say in bracket curly braces there are three, right? So these things you can capture. Then again, capital slashes are non-white space character. Then you have this tab, new line, return, which you can match. This is for digit. This asterisk symbol is match start of the string. So for example, let's say if you want to match specifically that, if it is only at the start, then only give it, otherwise not, you can do that. So to give you example, let's say if I want to match uh, is dog, and I have given this special symbol, right? So will it match? No, it did not. Because is dog is there, but it is not at the start. It is in between. If I remove this asterisk symbol, it will work. You see, now it has worked. Similarly, there is this dollar symbol, which you can say that match end of the string. So it is doing right now, right? So let's say if I want to find is cat, okay, it will do it. Sorry, is dog. So if I give, actually dog is already right. So if I do is null, only if it is at the end, then only I want, otherwise I don't, right? So it will work, right? But let's say is cat, I gave, now it won't work because cat is not at the end. You see, now it is not working because cat is not at the end. If I remove this, then it will work. So likewise, you can put asterisk symbol or a dollar symbol to mention clearly whether it is a start of your sentence or end of the sentence. Okay. Then you have this backslash, which I already told you many times. Whenever you want to inhibit the specialness of a character, you can use it. Inhibit means you want to disable the specialness of a character, right? Like plus, question mark, asterisk symbol. Where you want to use them as it is, you can put that backslash symbol before that symbol, and it will inhibit their specialness. Okay. Clear? Any confusion so far? No? Okay. So let's look at the some of the examples. How do we go about it? So for example, here I have defined this pattern where I am searching for a digit, and I have given the, so let's try to see that, right? Let me search it and let's try it in Notepad and see what we are getting. Okay. Uh, Fine. So what I'm searching for, I have created a pattern that there should be a digit, and I put a plus symbol, matlab there should be at least one digit or more. Okay, but minimum one digit should be there. Then there should be a space. Then there should be word, right? There should be letters. It could be anything. And again, simply at least one letter or more. So if I do that, and I'm doing the find all over here, so you see I'm getting everything. I'm getting this 12 numbers because it has this and that, right? It has two letters and it has followed by space and it has this. Now imagine, agar मैं ये plus की जगह I could have just written nothing. So which means that it is just one occurrence. So you see all the letters, now this instead of 12 only 2 is coming. So it is just matching this pattern because I have asked only to extract only one digit. Right? But as soon as I put plus, इसका मतलब जितने भी digits है वो सब आ जाएंगे, one or more. Right? So let's say if I don't have anything in maids, it won't give you maid. You see now it has removed maid. After 10 lots, it has directly jumped to ladies and then 7 swan. it ignore mates because there is no digit in this. But instead of plus, if I would make this symbol, it will get it. So it has get it, but then it has also uh, given what it has actually separated this out. Basically the pattern has been broken, that's why. But yeah, so the whole point is that you have to be careful how you want to extract your patterns. Okay, so that's how simple it is. Then so there's just explanation of this, that one or more digit followed by the character and followed by the this word. Okay, so find all will give you all the patterns. Okay, then you can match the special words. So I was telling you right earlier, why 91 was giving you error, because you have to give in a square bracket. So whatever are the special symbol, you have to give in a square bracket. So there are times when you want to match a set of characters, but the shorthand character class are too broad. So if only particular letters or numbers only you want to search, then you can do that by giving them in a square bracket. Okay, so here you see A, E, I, U, I have given. So if you do find all, you will get all the letters which are there in this. Only vowel words you are able to get. Okay, cool. So this pattern you gave and you did the find all, you got this. So now in this you can include ranges of letters or numbers by using hyphen. Okay, so you can give that also. So this kind of range you can give, that it can be between any number, between this ranges also you can give, right? Then inside the square brackets, the normal regular expression symbols are not interpreted as such. This means that you do not need to escape these characters with the preceding backslash. For the character 0 to 5 dot will match 0 to 5 in a period. You do not have to give this. So this is just one additional information, that within square bracket you don't have to give this backlash symbol, because here it will not that special symbol doesn't hold any value or any meaning. So you don't have to give this extra backlash symbol. You can just directly give any symbol whatever you want to match, and you can just get going. Here also you can give this caret character, open bracket, you can make a negative character class. So by this it will tell you that it won't match by this, but it will give you rest of the other thing. So again this has a two meaning. Earlier we saw if you don't put it in a square bracket, it will match only at the start of the sentence. But here if you give it in a square bracket, it will be matching without these letters. So it is a negative creation it has done. Okay, clear? I'll take a break if you guys have any question or queries over here. No, all good? Okay, let's get going then. Then you already have the symbol at the start of the regular expression. Then this dollar is end, right? You can put this together also. If you really want to match something, that it should be starting with this or ending with this. So for example, if you are given like this, you will be getting a match over here, that because the sentence is starting with hello. Okay, and yeah, I mean, so you can try it out like this. This regular expression string matches that and with a numerical character 0 to 9, right? So for example here, if you give like this, so any line which is ending with digit, it will match. So it will match this too. Okay, because this is at the end. Okay, cool. uh, Fine. Then what else? If you give plus symbol also over here, which means that it will give you both the digits, right? It have given you 42 over here. Similarly here, if your number is like this, it will give you entirely thing, all the thing it will give you. Okay, so you want to see whole string is number or not, so that you can do by simply giving like that. Okay, because I gave it should start with digit and end with digit. So that's why it is not matching, right? It should start with digit, but it should end with digit. But here there are in between these letters also, which I have not given. So that's why it is not matching. So if I remove this now, then it will match. You see, because now everything is with digit. So if I have XYZ, either I can remove this starting thing over here, so it will match. Now it is matching. It is giving you all 67890, right? But let's say if I want to match that pattern, so I have to tell that in between there can be letters also. So in between I have to tell that there could be letters also. Sorry, not square brackets. There can be this uh, characters also, right? 0 or 1, and then again there has to be ending with digits, right? So then it will match. Now you see it has matched the entire string. So that's how you tweak your regular expression. So I'll tell you a trick. Even now also, not in one shot, I am able to get the pattern in one shot by looking at the thing. I have to try these hit and trial methods. So one by one I put. So for example, in this case, I want to match with this string. What I will do is I will try to first put start with digit and give a plus symbol, and that's all. I'll see whether it is working or not. Then I will add at the last digit whether it is working or not. Then I will add in between those things. So instead of, so if you try that way now, it things are more easy because you are learning one by one what pattern you are adding, and because of that pattern what values you are matching. Okay, so if you take those smaller step, then writing the everything in one shot, it's gonna be easy if you take one step at a time. Okay, so always try with the simple strings match, and then accordingly you proceed. You start putting more into that and see how your pattern is turning out. Clear? Okay, cool. Then you have what? Just let me see how many more are pending. Just getting an idea if you guys are not getting bombarded with a lot of information. Okay. Okay. Okay, so let's discuss few more. Then notebooks and all we will learn more in more detail in tomorrow's session. Okay, we will not rush it through. Right. So now what more you can do is you can put two symbols also together. So if you put this dot and asterisk symbol together, what it will do is you will want to match everything and anything. So it will match everything and anything. So what this symbol is, it just represents single character, and once you have multiplied, you have said that match anything and everything. So for example, let's say you want to match the string first name followed by any all text followed by the last name and then followed by anything again. You can use dot star. Okay, so how it will work? So for example, let's say you have said first name should be there, then whatever is there in between you capture it, then there should be last name, then whatever is there you capture it. So this represents whatever. Okay, so how what it will search in this, it will be actually telling you that first. So let's see this now. I think then it will be more clear. So you see it has find that everything, because I gave whenever I am giving this, which means that it is everything. Because why we need it? Because name can be anything longer, right? I cannot say that name has to be only small letter, capital letter, or cannot have any special symbols, right? So that's why I'm saying that whatever it is, AIL, Joe, whatever it is, how big it is, even if there is this asterisk symbol and all, right, it should capture it. So it is capturing each and everything, whatever is there. And let's say if I want to see what is that, I have created two group. First is for first name and another is for second last name. So if I do group 1, I will get first name, and if I do group 2, I will get the second name. So it is for this purpose. Whenever you want to capture anything and everything between two keywords, you can use this. Okay. So dot star uses greedy mode because it's a greedy mode. This will always try to match as much as text possible. To match any all text in non-greedy fashion, you can use a question mark also. So let's see what happens if I put a question mark in this case. So it just gave the, I think, the first value, or that is the space, right? So in this case, there was no change, but in here it just gave me the first space only. Okay. So see, basically most of the time you would want to get everything because that's the name and that's the last name. So typically we use these as only this only. We don't use question mark over here, right? If you really want to use restrict it, then you can put a curly bracket, right? So like with curly bracket, question mark tells Python to match in a non-greedy way. So you could have put a curly bracket and say that give me only 3 letters or 4 letters if you really want to restrict to that, right? Then you have a dot star will match everything except a new line. So by passing a dot all as a second argument to recompile, you can make the dot character match all the character including the new line as well. So for example, here in this recompile, if I have given the dot star and if I have this text, because this is a new line, right? This symbol is for new line. So it won't match a new line, because if I see the group over here, it will just giving me the first thing only, serve the public trust. After that, it won't read. So what it is saying, let's say if you want to avoid that, you want to search, even though there are different lines, but still you want to find that pattern, you just give read dot all, so that it won't avoid, it won't stop when finding a new line. It will give you everything. Okay, simple. I'll repeat again. This thing period followed by star does not work on new line. It stop as soon as it get. But if you want to avoid it, if you want to search everywhere including new line, you should be putting read dot all. That's all when you are compiling it. Okay, cool. Uh, I'm just trying to see if it is not getting too much. So actually now I feel, at least I feel exhausted while discussing with you guys. I feel it is too much information for you guys. So you guys tell me if you want to, just stop it over here, or you want to, or what we can do is, uh, I'm just trying to see if I can show you some more examples and then stop. Okay, and other rules, there are now very few rules left, so we can take it from there tomorrow. So let me just show you quickly some of the notebooks, right? Let me see if I have any. uh, okay, here I think some of the examples, let me show you. Yeah, so here these are like, again, you can go through them together. I mean, go through them, so it's whatever I explained, right? It is that only. uh, right, so all these things are here, you can go through it. It's very simple. So I'm just looking some of the examples which I can show you so that things are more clear and we can stop. Let me see if I have more use cases over here. So yeah, so we have a lot of use cases over here, so let's try to go over them instead of learning new rules, right? So here, as you can see, we have a string, right? So you can check whether that particular substring is there or not, right? So it is a part of substring. like find the string, get the index, right? But if there are any complex patterns, how do we go about it? Using regular expressions. Okay, so as you can see, you can get it like this, read out, search and all, right? So how we can do it? So there are two ways to do it. One way we learned is you create an object, read out, compile, give you a pattern, and then from there you use search method. Or you could have directly use it like this, read dot search, and where you are giving your pattern and give your string. So this is also another way to do it. You give your pattern over here, you give your string and directly do read dot search. You don't have to write, create an object, read out, compile and do it together. But that's the ideal way to define it, and that's how we follow that practice. You should always, if you see any code, right, which is very well written, you first see that they have created an object from compiling and then they have used it instead of directly using it. Okay, so as you can see here, you can search it like that. Then you have meta character, right? So you can say that searching in this string, what we are searching for 3 digits. So this is also 1 digit, this is second digit, this is 3 digit, right? So you will get 1 2 3 as an answer of this. Okay, uh, do we have quiz? Okay, we don't have quiz for this. Okay, fine. Okay, so that's how you can get the digits over here, right? Here you won't find anything because you don't have 3 digits in continuity. You have two here, you have two here, but your pattern says there has to be 3 digits in together. Okay, and that's the reason you did not find anything over here. But in this case, you will find it whether it is in between or at the start or at the end, because you have not given that it has to be start or it has to be end, right? So it will match wherever it find. Okay, so simply here, as you can see here, 1.3, so it will match what? It will see 1 is there, 3 is there, and in between can be anything, because this dot represents, it can be anything. So instead of 2, it can be a number, it can be a letter, it can be a special symbol, it can be anything. Still it will match, right? So that's why it is matching. Okay, similarly here, it will not match because it has to be anything. It cannot be nothing, right? Because here there is nothing between 1 and 3, and that's why it is not matching. Okay. Okay, cool. So then you have these special symbol which we already learned about it, right? So you can use them over here. As you can see, if we really want to match these particular letters, then we can do it. So here we are able to search ARTZ, right? So BA, and then after BA, we are actually checking whatever is there in between. Uh, do we find it or not? So as you can see here, we are able to find over here, right? After BA, we have R over here, and that's the reason I'm just finding from 3 to 6. Okay, only this much I'm able to find. So this is whatever you are writing, it is not entirely it will search. No, anything it will match, it will give you. So for example, let me show you here, right? So it is giving you this match, correct? Now let's say if I don't have this R, it will just give you BA. I mean, sorry, it will not give you anything, because this one you have said clearly that it has to find something between this, right? Because you have not given anything. But let's say here, if I have put in this symbol, I think now it will give me. See, now it is giving you BA, because now what I have said, I put this multiplier symbol, which means that there could be either match or no match, because this multiplier symbol is 0 or more. Okay, if I will put plus, then again it will not match. If I don't put anything, iska matlab again it won't match, because at least it expects at least one letter will be there between this, right? So let's say if I press T, it will be there, because Q is not part of this thing. That's why it is not matching. Clear? So likewise, if you go through this link now, I mean, it's already there in the PPT, which I think you already might have got access to. So you can go through these links, so that examples you try it at your own. You try tweaking the patterns or the strings, then things will be even more clear how to use those strings. Okay. And let me tell you, it is very important whenever are doing some kind of text processing and those stuff, right? That time it is very important. Okay, so here this will also match because you are giving A to Z. So whenever it is matching a small letter, it is matching at B, it is giving a match B. Similarly here it is giving a match 1 2. Okay, likewise you can go through it and read in detail. Here for every special symbol you have such many detailed examples. Okay, cool. uh, I think with that, let me quickly cover this also, because I mean now majority of the things are already covered. There are only very few things which is remaining. So let me cover that also, so that tomorrow again we'll start with the notebook. Okay. So as you can see here, we can actually match the case insensitive matching also. So here, if whatever letter you will give, it will try to match with that letter only. The way you define it, right? That way only it will try to see if it is small letters or bad capital letters. It will try to exactly match, right? But sometimes, let's say you care only about matching. You don't care about the whether it is a small letter or a letter, because for you it's R. Doesn't matter if it is a small letter or a big R or a small r. So in that case, you can do the ignore casing. So for that, there is this term in within this re.compile, you give your pattern, and this re.I. I means ignore case. So by default, it is true. So if you define re.I, which means that you are ignoring the uh, uh, case sensitivity, and it will match no matter if it is a small r or a capital R. So as you can see here, Robocop, it was a small pattern you gave, small r, but here it matched with a bigger R because you gave that re.I. Okay. Same thing here. Even if you search with this, it will match with this also, because now it is ignoring the case sensitivity. Okay, so that's how you can ignore the case sensitivity methods. Then you have called sub method also. So what this sub method does, regular expression cannot only find text patterns but also can substitute new text in place of those patterns. So basically it is a thing of replacement. So far we were learning control F, how to search a pattern. But if, let's say, if I want to search it and want to replace it, so then you can do the sub of this. So what is this? Instead of search, you use sub. So what it will do, you have a pattern over here, right? Agent, you find a agent and it will search for a space, then any letters, right? So it will find this. So you have to give, like you have to replace. So you give sub, you give the pattern, and you tell what you want to replace. Okay. So what output you will get over here is, right? So this is your pattern, that is sorry, sensor give the secret documents to this, right? Agent, and then this letter, it's been replaced by the censored method. Yes. So let me show you over here. So what has happened over here is, I said find this pattern. Okay, so this is agent followed by the word. So this is the pattern, right? Agent followed by the word, agent followed by the word. Now instead of search, so let me show you search of this, right? So if I find all, let me do the find all. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So then you have to give the string. So if I run this, you see now it has replaced. So wherever you are seeing this agent Alice, it has been replaced by REPL. Okay. So likewise, instead of search, you can do the replacement also using sub method. Just give your pattern and tell what word you want to replace and give your string. Okay. Right. Okay. So sometimes you may need to use the matched text itself as a part of substitution. In first argument to sub, you can type 1 2 3 and so on to mean enter the text group of this. Okay, so let's take this example. So here what happened is, let's say you are finding a pattern and you created a group of W, right? And then you have another word. So you want to censor the name of the secret agents by showing just the first letter of their name, right? And to do this, what you can do is you're just giving agent, you are giving that one word only it should find, and then rest of the word it should uh, you know it whatever is the word you find this pattern. Okay, then how you replace it? Simply this thing you are putting and you are giving it. So that's how it will do. So wherever you see agent Alice, so you see it has just kept a, and then other thing it has put it as a star symbol. Then again told agent Carol, again it has put this as star, this four symbol, and that's how you have done. And you can get this by doing this 1 2 3. Okay, so let me do this again, right? So what I mean to say is, let's say instead of sub, uh, let me keep it over here. First, let me find it out. Okay, so let me see if I do search, or let me do find all. Okay, so it has done the find all, right? And as you can see, it has find this letter. So that is A, right? Then here it is C, then here is E, there is B, and that's what you have said, right? Agent Alice, agent Carol, agent Eve, and agent Bob. So instead of this, it has found this group. So what I am substituting over here is you replace so because this is group one, right? So that's what I'm finding. I'm right when I'm writing this one, which means that I'm accessing the group one. So I'm telling that you use the symbol followed by 4 star. That's all. So when I replace this, and that's what you are seeing. So agent Alice is replaced by first group. So first group is A followed by 4 symbol. Similarly, agent Carol is replaced by first group, that is C followed by 4 symbol, and likewise you can access it. Okay, you can try it one more time from your side. It will be easier in that sense. Okay, so then you have these complex symbols, right? So likewise you can think of creating this complex symbol, and that's the reason why we use compile, because when it really gets complicated now, it sometimes got into multiple lines, and that's where it's easier to write in compile than directly using in a search function or some other functions. So right, so all these things, like, I mean, see, it is up to you how you want to practice it, right? So that's why I want you to go through it one more time. Try to go through over the links as well, because I know that it is a lot to process in just one single day. But since we have a time crunch and we want to capture as much as possible in the short duration, so practice from your side, it's very important. I have tried to be as thorough as I can, to make you guys understand. But yeah, like, you will have to practice it. Otherwise, it will be difficult for you. So when you write, like, just for a phone number, that's how complicated this string is. But by now, you should be able to understand how to dissect it. You should be able to understand, okay, first I'm trying to find 3 digits together. Then again, I'm trying to find 3 digits together. And it has to be appear only one time, or 0 time, right? Then there has to be some special symbol like hyphen, dot, then again 3 digits, then again followed by this, followed by 4 digit, right? So what kind of things I'm trying to find out, right? You should be able to understand this. Okay, so regular expressions are fine if the text pattern you need to match is simple, but matching complicated text patterns might require long and convoluted regular expressions. You can mitigate this by telling read.compile function to ignore white spaces and comments inside the regular expression. The verbose mode can be enabled by passing reverbose as the second argument of the compile. So basically, let's say in here you are giving these spaces and enter symbol, right? So to, because then it will have again some special meaning, and if you want to disable that special meaning, because this is for your reading purpose, that's what you can give this read.verbose, so that you can give enter spaces within the key, also within the matching pattern also. Okay, again the triple quotes, you already know that it is for multi-line string, so that you can spread the regular expression definition over many lines, right? Make it more legible. The common rules inside the regular expression strings are same, right? That symbol, everything, end of the line are ignored, and everything it is same, whatever we have learned. Okay, and then yeah, then I think yes, so we have already know that read out all we can do, ignore case we can do, we can do verbose case and all. So with that we have finished the regular expression. So these are the two links which I would encourage you guys, please go through it. Okay, try to understand more about it, it will help you. So this one is very simple, right? This one by one it has given you symbol and it has told it use cases. A complicated use cases one, which you can try at your home and see how these things are working. Okay, these are very detailed and very good. Okay, so with that I'll stop over here. uh, Somebody says the screen is not visible. Oh my god. Okay, somebody should have unmuted yourself and tell me, right? Because how I cannot read the chat. So I'm not sure how long my screen was not visible. Any of you could have unmuted yourself and speak up. Okay, anyways, I think what we can do is I will try to revise the last option. Yeah, I know you guys don't have, but the XLR team has, but it's fine. So what I will do is I will try to revise this quickly tomorrow also, the last part in more detail. Okay. And yeah, so please go through this material on your side and try to practice as much as possible. Okay. So if you guys have any questions, whatever we have learned today. No? Okay, good then. Then talk to you guys tomorrow. Right? Please practice it and start asking question tomorrow. I will again give you some 10-15 minutes in the beginning if you guys have any questions. And then we'll do a quick recap what we learned today. And then we'll be moving to a new topic. Okay? Cool. With that, have a good day and talk to you tomorrow.